What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Point After with Mitch Kaiser. I'm your host, Mitch Kaiser. Happy Tuesday. We are now about 36 hours away from game one of tip-off of the NBA Finals tomorrow night between the Spurs and Knicks. Cannot wait to preview this game here. Coming to you on this Tuesday, one day out from the finals starting, I'm offering you guys my NBA Finals preview today. We're going to break down the matchups. We're going to go through the teams, and I will make my pick for you guys at the end based on who I think is going to win this series. House sitting for my parents this week, so I don't really have a good area to record with a background, so just want to make this graphic. You guys can look at this graphic. That's a lot better than staring at my face for 30 minutes, so I wanted to do like a quick preview for you guys to this series. This is going to be an awesome NBA Finals. Party like it's 1999. This was the NBA Finals back in 99. Last time the Knicks made it, and it was the Spurs. That was the first one they won with David Robinson and Tim Duncan back in 99 when Duncan really started their dynasty, and then they won like five more later on. So yeah, maybe we're entering another dynasty for the Spurs if they win this one. But I think for the good of the league, we almost need the Knicks to win this one because it feels like Wemby's going to win the next 5 to 10. So it almost like would be better for the Knicks to win this because it feels like might be their only shot at it. But never know. So so I'll break down some of the matchups, talk about some of the betting odds and some of the favors in this series. On the surface level, this is the 3-seeded New York Knicks, who are 53-29, versus the 2-seeded San Antonio Spurs, who are 62-20. We did not expect the Spurs to be ready this soon and kind of make it this early, and they are here for the moment. I think on the NBA Christmas Day when they beat the Thunder, I think that really kind of showed everyone that they're ready to compete now and they're not a year away. I know me, for one, I had the Spurs as a play-in team. I just thought they were a year out from competing, so couldn't have been more wrong on them. I didn't think Wemby would arrive by year 3, but here we are. So yeah, we'll get into Knicks Spurs. I'll give you guys my talking points here. As you can see, the graphic I've got 7 talking points here. We'll go over some of the youth and talent versus experience chemistry. We'll talk about Brunson. This is a way tougher matchup for Brunson than Cleveland was in the last round. We'll talk about Karl-Anthony Towns' role in this series because I think he plays a huge role and could honestly swing the series. Same as Mitchell Robinson. His health status is going to be crucial for the Knicks coming off the bench if he can play or not. De'Aaron Fox, we're going to talk about him a little bit because he's going to play a key role for the Spurs in terms of winning the series. Whose bench will step up the most? Both teams have improved their benches this season, but whose will kind of rise up to the moment in this playoffs under the pressure. And then I will give you guys my series pick of who I think is cutting down the nets and winning the NBA Finals this season. So, all right. Just for starters, again, this is the 3-seed Knicks versus the 2-seed Spurs. How they got here, the Knicks dominated the Eastern Conference. They ran through everyone in the East, beat the Hawks in 6, and then they swept the Philadelphia 76ers and the Cleveland Cavaliers last week in 4 games. Wasn't even close. Spurs had a little bit of a tougher route to the finals, but they made it. They made it through. They beat the Portland Trailblazers, the 7th seed, in 5 games. Then they beat the Timberwolves in, 6 games, I believe. And then took the Thunder to 7 and beat them in Game 7 on their home floor in OKC, which was quite the impressive accomplishment the other night. A lot of people felt like that was the NBA Finals the other night. I don't think so. I think this is the proper finals. I'm excited to see these two teams play. This was a pretty fun matchup in the regular season, and one talking point real quick is this was the in-season Cup championship back in November or December, whenever that game is. But the Knicks won that game with some real stakes on it. And the other 2 games, the Knicks were leading by a lot. The only game the Spurs beat the Knicks in this season was at their home floor in San Antonio. And it was a huge comeback win when they were down 20 points. And it was only close. They only got close because Julian Champagnie hit 11 threes. 11 threes in that game to bring the Spurs back and come back and win that game. I think that was December 31st. And then they played March 15th, I want to say, and the Knicks kind of beat up the Spurs a lot. Like, Mikal Bridges had a really good game. Mitchell Robinson had a really good game. Josh Hart hit some threes. And Brunson was Brunson. So I don't think this is some like David versus Goliath finals like a lot of people are saying. I think it's always like kind of a hot take to just say it's going to be a blowout, but I think this is going to be a great NBA Finals. I think these are two evenly matched teams. I think the Knicks are absolutely on the Spurs level, and I think the youth of the Spurs is not going to be too big of an issue, as it's not been a problem so far. Spurs are minus 205 to win this series. Knicks are plus 170. Game one, the Spurs are minus 4.5. They're favored by 4.5 tomorrow night. Mitchell Robinson's injury, he is a game time decision. I do think he will play. We're gonna get into his injury in a second, but yeah, just the matchup of these two teams that when they play each other in the regular season, I know that's a grain of salt. I know the regular season doesn't mean much when you get into the playoffs. However, the Knicks were absolutely the better team for almost 48 minutes of all three games. So I absolutely think the Knicks can compete in this series and take them. I absolutely think this series is going at least 6 or 7 games, regardless of who wins. So let's get into it. Talking point one, this is truly youth and talent versus experience and chemistry. Everything we know about the NBA says a team this young and inexperienced as in San Antonio is going to lose. However, they have yet to lose. They've just went through the defending champs. They just beat them on their home floor at 7 games, and they kind of crushed their soul. So everything we know says the Spurs are going to lose, yet they could just be the anomaly. And in terms of being the true anomaly, that might be Victor Wembanyama, who is just the real alien, not from this planet, can do everything, is already the best player in the world, in my opinion. Took that label, snatched that label from SGA last series. That's why they might just be the anomaly, and it might not matter how young and inexperienced they are because they keep winning and they keep dominating. And when you have a player as good as Wembanyama, as just physically gifted, something we've never seen before in this league, that's the alien and that's the anomaly. So this might be the one moment in NBA history where the inexperience wins out, and it might not matter because he's that good. Now, the other side, the Knicks have the experience, the cohesion, the team chemistry. They have been building this run for 4 years. Really, they've been building this run for almost a decade. If you go back to Villanova, because obviously we know the Nova Knicks of Brunson, Bridges, and Josh Hart winning 2 national championships in college and now creating the same roster and the same team in the NBA. I just think that's so cool as a big college basketball fan. I think that's super awesome. I'm a big Jay Wright fan, love Jay Wright as a head coach, so I'm sure he's smiling at this Knicks team and loving what he's seeing. So, but yes, we all know about their team chemistry. We know about their cohesion. This core on the Knicks has honestly, this is their 4th playoff run where they've gotten further each and every year, and they've gotten better each and every year. They have improved every single season, and it feels like they are finally just firing on all cylinders and clicking at the right time. So that is where it's going to be. We're going to see what matters more, the experience and the chemistry of a unit, of a collective unit as in the Knicks versus the far more talented group, but the far more younger and inexperienced group in San Antonio. We're going to see what trumps if talent versus experience wins out. All right, talking point number 2. This is a tough matchup for Brunson. So I want to get into the guard defenders. So Brunson's against a way tougher matchup of guard defenders here, as in not cones on defense like Donovan Mitchell and James Harden. So he may have a tougher time scoring the ball. He may have a tougher time putting the ball in the hoop, and he may be a little more inefficient. Brunson has been nails all playoffs. That feels like he doesn't miss mid-range anymore, or like some of the degree of difficulty on the shots he can hit is just incredible. I feel like he's almost just as good as SGA at creating separation and hitting difficult shots at tough angles. I really do. He might even be a little stronger than SGA, and I know he's like 5 inches shorter. Like SGA is 6'6", Brunson's like 6'1". Brunson's kind of beefy though. He's kind of yoked up, and he might be a little stronger than SGA has, and might be able to push, get some more separation off guys like Castle and Vassell, Harper, Fox, any of the guards who are going to be on him. I definitely think they will go with Castle and Vassell and Harper for the most part. Castle's going to start with the Brunson assignment, which is a way tougher assignment than going up against, Dean Wade, Max Strus, or James Harden. So this is where the corner shooters are going to come in crucial, like Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby. Mikal has been lethal all playoffs, shooting like over 50% from three. Just it feels like any corner three he makes or shoots is going in now. And same with Josh Hart. Josh Hart has been a shooter in the playoffs at 40% from three, even acting as a non-shooter. So if Hart can be a shooter in an offense where he's the non-shooter, and he might have some wide open looks, he's gonna have to step up and make those. He's gonna have to step up and knock those down if the Knicks want to win this series, because you can't pass up open threes in terms of this offense. But that's how Josh Hart's going to continue to play. Again, one of the most elite role players in the NBA, does everything at a high level except really shoot the basketball. So that's where he's going to have to step up and make some threes if he's open. And he's going to have confidence taking. He can't pass them up just because he's not really a quote unquote 3-point shooter. So yeah, Brunson's going to have to find ways to create separation and get in the paint, draw free throws. He's going to have to be as efficient as possible. I don't expect him to shoot close to 50% from the field this series, but if his three ball can get closer to 40%, his three ball has been at league average in these playoffs at 35%. However, Brunson's a career 39% 3-point shooter, so if he could get closer to his career average, I think that could be huge for the Knicks offense this series and could ultimately help them win it. So, but yeah, it's obviously like San Antonio's worst guard defender is De'Aaron Fox, and Fox isn't even that bad. Like, he's not a terrible defender. He's not a cone. And I went back and watched the film, and like Fox did okay against Brunson. Like, he can certainly hold his own. He's not gonna like blow by him, but like you definitely would prefer Kessler or Harper, who are San Antonio's two best perimeter defenders. Point number 3. So this is kind of a talking point for both offense and defense. Karl-Anthony Towns plays a huge role in this series and could ultimately be like a big swing player. I don't want to call him the X Factor because I have another X Factor in a second, but Towns on Wemby with OG roaming is the defensive matchup I would like to see. I would like to start with with the Knicks putting Towns on Wemby because I think OG is their ace in the hole, and I would save that for later, more important parts of the series, if that makes sense. I think showing your OG Anunoby, who's arguably the best perimeter defender in the NBA, the best wing defender in the NBA, I think starting him on Wemby is kind of like that's your best matchup, and that might be your best shot from the start. So I would start with Towns on Wemby and see how he does, see how it goes. If he starts to pick up fouls, if he starts to get in foul trouble, then I would switch it up and go from there. However, I wouldn't show all your cards at first, especially in game 1. Coming off a week off where the Knicks had, won their series last week and they've just been waiting for the Spurs, I would not show all your cards in game 1. I would not start with OG on Wemby because OG can come in and provide help side defense. That's where you want OG. You want OG roaming, particularly on Champagnie. I would put OG on Julian Champagnie. Maybe that way you can avoid the 11 3-pointers that he hit in December. But I would put OG on Champagnie, and then he can provide some elite help side D off the weak side. Again, I wouldn't start with OG on Wemby because that's your ace in the hole. And I think Towns has been solid on defense this playoffs. You're never going to hear Towns as a good defender in the same sentence. However, he has held his own. He has been solid. He can still block a shot or two. And also, Towns is an exceptionally gifted defensive rebounder, which is part of defense. Part of team defense is rebounding and boxing out, and Towns does that better than anybody. He has averaged 13 rebounds a game for the past 2 seasons, which I want to say has led the entire NBA. So Towns is one of the best rebounders in the NBA. That is part of team defense. He has been dominant at that on the glass all playoffs. If he could continue that, that is huge. They need to start with Towns on Wemby and go from there. I know he has a knack for picking up dumb fouls. Towns picks up more silly fouls than any big man in the NBA. Obviously, he's never been an elite rim protector. If he can just keep his hands up, stay down, not bite on pump fakes, that will be crucial. That will be key to just him staying on the floor. Because if he cannot, that's where you get into the backup center role, which is our point 4, and we'll talk about that in a second. On the other side of the ball, as in Karl-Anthony Towns' role on offense for the Knicks this series, I think he has to play a huge role too if he can draw Wemby away from the basket. Towns has a lot of gravity for a big man, arguably the best shooting big man of all time. He's the self-proclaimed best three-point shooting big. He really might be. I mean, he was 41% from deep last season, 37% from deep this season, and he's been hitting his threes at like 50% in the playoffs. I think I said 48% from deep all playoffs, which is just absurd numbers. So, like, if he can he's not going to keep up that rate. That's bananas. But if he can stay above 40% from three, that will be crucial for the Knicks offense and provide the necessary spacing they need for Brunson to attack the paint, kick out to wing shooters, backup guards like Alvarado and McBride to draw defenders, get into the paint, throw up a floater, throw up a lob to Mitchell Robinson, Towns, whoever. But yes, I think Towns' job is to essentially pull Wembanyama away from the basket, draw him out of the paint so that they can attack the paint. Because when Wemby's just camped in the paint, you're not getting in there. You're not getting shots above him. He is altering every shot you take. He is blocking a lot of shots you take down there. So if Cat can do his job to simply pull Wemby out of the paint, and I don't know if that's the whole matchup they're going to go to all the time. I don't know if the Spurs will just keep Wemby on Towns because of that purpose. They might put him on OG at the 4 position and have Wemby roam more coming off the perimeter. So, however, whoever is drawing Wemby away has to do a good job of it and space the floor. Getting Wembanyama outside of the paint is going to be key for the Knicks guards and really open up the paint to make something happen down low. Because if Wemby is just roaming the paint and just basically playing that one-man zone he likes to play, you're not going to have a shot. You're not going to have any chance at scoring in the paint. And the Knicks will really be reliant on three-point shooting, which is never a recipe for success. So, all right. Next point number 4 is Mitchell Robinson. So Mitchell Robinson is the backup center for the Knicks, who's been there for almost a decade now. Been a really good backup center. Can never really stay healthy. However, he's one of the best offensive rebounders in the entire NBA and one of the best rim protectors in the entire NBA. I don't know if there's a more valuable player who plays less than 20 minutes a night than Mitchell Robinson. Like, truly. Like, he could be an X factor in this series, and his injury is like playing a huge role right now in terms of who I was picking to win this. I can't lie to you guys. He just had surgery on a broken pinky the other day. However, he plans to play. He's planning to play game 1. Says he's a questionable game time decision. I would expect him to be out there. It's the finals. I would expect Mitchell Robinson to do whatever he can to be on the court, even if it's just 15 minutes. We'll see how effective he is. Again, his rim protection when healthy is critical. I'm sure this pinky injury is not going to help his free throw shooting. What's he at, like 30% on the season and even worse in the playoffs? So he has to be able to at least make some free throws. I mean, dude, 50%. Like, bank them in if you can. 50%. If you can go 1 of 2 every time you're at the line, that is huge because you're just leaving so many points on the board when they do the hack-a-Mitch tactic. So we'll see if the Spurs bust out that hack-a-Mitch tactic at all. But again, when you are going up against a team like who has Victor Wembanyama, you're going to need all hands on deck. You're going to need every big man you can. You're going to need Robinson to come in and provide a spark, whether it's just grabbing a couple offensive rebounds, blocking a couple shots, kicking it out to guys in the corner. This matchup is where you really need him against Wemby because Towns is not going to be able to do it for 48 minutes a night. Like we talked about depth of the OKC, New York has improved their bench all year, and that's a point we'll get into at point 6 here, but offensive rebounding will be huge. Stealing possessions against San Antonio's defense will be huge. You cannot waste possessions. You cannot miss out on those you cannot have too many empty possessions. Therefore, Mitchell Robinson on the offensive glass is massive. If his pinky is not hindering him at all, he could swing this series legitimately. And any free throws he makes is a bonus. Any offensive boards he makes is a bonus. Any lobs and dunks he catches are a bonus. He just needs to be out there providing defense, providing rim protection, and providing rebounding. But yeah, we'll see how he looks in game one. The pinky might not affect him at all. It might cause him to only play less than like 10 minutes. So we'll see. All right, point number 5. This is more of a San Antonio point. I know we've kind of talked a lot of the Knicks. So De'Aaron Fox was big in game 7. I thought he played great in game 7. I thought it was his best game of the series. He was efficient, didn't take too many shots, was under control, didn't turn the ball over too much, made good passes. I think Fox has to do that again this series. I think you need to see Sacramento version of Fox, even if he's not the 25-point scorer night. If he can just be efficient, make open threes when they're available, play solid defense. Again, Fox is never going to lock anyone up on defense. However, if he cannot be the guy who gets targeted and kind of hold his own on that end of the floor, that will be huge for San Antonio because, again, the rest of their guard defenders are nearly elite at what they do. So if Fox can just kind of hold his own on the defensive end of the floor, we do need to see the veteran Kings version a little bit. Again, Fox was unbelievable in those playoffs in, 2023 against Golden State. However, he's not been healthy all these playoffs. You can easily tell he doesn't have the same burst. He doesn't have the same quick first step that he had in Sacramento. So he's definitely nursing an injury. It is nagging at him. However, if he can just be efficient, not turn the ball over, not be a cone on defense, provide solid team defense, and efficient playmaking, good passing to Wemby, that could be huge for the Spurs because I have no doubt Castle's ready for this moment. I have no doubt Vassell's ready for this moment. I have no doubt Harper's ready for the moment. The Game 7 step back shot he hit with 2 minutes to play against OKC was unbelievable. Dylan Harper looked like James Harden on that step back. I was stunned when he hit that. I couldn't believe it. That shot might have ended the game, in all honesty, for OKC. So yeah, you're gonna need good guard play out of San Antonio. You're gonna need all hands on deck to go at Brunson and take away Brunson and just try to eradicate him from the game. I imagine Castle and Harper will mostly get the Brunson assignment. But as long as Fox can hold his own, both offensive and defensively, that could be huge for San Antonio winning this series. His experience may be the one that comes through. As in all the other Spurs, this is their first playoff run. De'Aaron Fox and Harrison Barnes coming out of Sacramento, those are the only two guys who have any experience. They haven't played in the finals. However, Barnes did way back on Golden State. Those two veterans might provide more of a spark for the Spurs than you realize in this series. So I would just keep an eye on Fox and Barnes, who I think can actually provide that old playoff veteran experience. Because the finals gets nervous. It is bright lights. This is the biggest stage in sports. This is the biggest stage in all of sports, in my opinion, where the lights are the brightest. The media is going to be on you. The cameras are all going to be on you. So I understand if this is where the youth kind of does get nervous. And if it is like a lights are too bright type of moment for San Antonio's guards, I think Fox can kind of calm everyone down, calm the pressure down, alleviate some of the noise, and just kind of get everyone on the same page. So Fox needs to play a big role for the Spurs if they want to win this series. All right, point number 6 now. Whose bench will rise up? Now, both these teams did a number on their benches this offseason and really improved it. Tom Thibodeau didn't even play his bench last season, so the Knicks bench is already better if it plays at all. Credit Mike Brown for that, really building up their bench for this moment. I mean, they've been building this all season. Look at what Landry Shamet is doing, Jordan Clarkson is doing. Those guys have been huge. The addition of Jose Alvarado has been huge. He provides a spark on defense and just a high-energy bench guy. Miles McBride, we know what Deuce McBride can do. Provides elite shooting, elite spacing, elite defense on the perimeter. And the Spurs bench, while they had Keldon Johnson, who was the sixth man of the year, he was huge in Game 7, hit 2 big threes in the fourth quarter. He has not been as good in these playoffs. Same as Luke Cornett. And we saw the block by Cornett. That's going to go down as a more impressive block than the block by James, I'm sure. But Cornett's block in Game 7 was huge. Outside of that play, he has not really provided much of a spark these playoffs, and they've kind of lost all the minutes with him on the court. Keldon Johnson and Cornett have kind of been getting targeted whenever they are on the court, and San Antonio's bench hasn't been as good as it was in the regular season. Obviously, you still have Dylan Harper, who's kind of been in and out of the starting lineup for Fox, but San Antonio's bench needs to play better than it has if they want to win this series, because I think the Knicks do have the better bench and they have more depth. They have shown it with Clarkson and Shamet really rising up and stepping up these playoffs, especially if Mitchell Robinson can be healthy. If Robinson can be healthy, he can also provide that spark off the bench, the rebounding you need, the defense you need. Honestly, it is one or two plays in between games that completely swing the game, completely swing the series when you really boil it down. So, Shamet, again, he has felt like he's not missed a 3 all playoffs. If he can continue that, I think the Knicks could be all right. Keldon Johnson and Cornett had their 2 best games in Game 6 and Game 7. If they can continue to look better, to play better together, with Harper just growing and getting better each game. I mean, this kid's future is super bright. I think San Antonio could, whoever's bench plays better could be a sign, an indicator of who's going to win the series ultimately. So, all right, moment you guys have all been waiting for, my series pick. Okay, now I was texting my friends before recording this, and I was like, I'm about to go live, and I still don't know who I'm picking. I still am going back and forth. I've gone back and forth in my head all week because on one hand, it feels like you have this team who is the ultimate team of destiny with tons of team chemistry and experience, a group of likable guys who are all best friends, and it feels like it's all just building up for their year. Again, team of destiny, everything is just kind of working for them right now, clicking for them, firing on all cylinders. However, on the other hand, we talk about the alien. We talk about the anomaly. This situation might be the one time in NBA history, in NBA League history, where the experience, the youth group, does not matter. The youth portion of it does not affect the Spurs. They are ready. They are not scared of the moment. And like we said, Victor Wembanyama could be building towards becoming one of the greatest basketball players of all time. He is already the best player in the world, in my opinion, as we speak today. So if he were to do this in his first playoff run, you are already throwing him into some scary conversations. We're talking like 22-year-olds to lead their team to the finals. And if he were to win it, I mean, that is just like a wild conversation that I don't think anybody is ready for. So we talked about that series, the regular season series between these teams. They played 3 times. One was the in-season cup final, which I know Adam Silver's probably so pumped that we got the NBA finals as the same 2 teams of the in-season cup. Therefore, it confirms that was kind of a valuable tournament. So I thought that was cool. The Knicks played them really well. They really looked good. They held their own. They were the better team in all 3 games, and then blew a lead in one of them in San Antonio on the road. They won in Las Vegas. The Knicks won in Las Vegas. They won the game at Madison Square Garden. And I do believe there was real stakes in that in-season tournament game. I know it's just kind of for extra money, but no one could tell me the players don't care and weren't trying in those. I'm going with the New York Knicks in 7 games in this series because, like I started with, it just feels like they're the team of destiny. Feels like they have caught lightning in a bottle, and they have the power of friendship working on their side right now. And I do think the NBA Finals is the biggest stage in all of sports where the lights do tend to get a little brighter than some players are even ready for. Even guys like Stephon Castle and Victor Wembanyama, who aren't afraid of anything, I do think this is the one moment where the Knicks, being from New York, playing at Madison Square Garden, having the team chemistry, having the confidence in each other, having the belief system in each other, and just going for it. They are absolutely ready for this moment. They are not afraid of the moment. They know this is their greatest shot to win a finals. They know this is the best shot they will likely ever have in this decade. And I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to pull it off. I've got the Knicks winning in 7 games. Yes, I think this is going 7. We have seen the road team win the last couple game 7s. I think we're going to see it again. I think the Knicks, I think Spurs win game 1. I think the Knicks win the next 2. I think Spurs win 5 at home. Knicks win 6 at Madison Square Garden at home. And then I think the Knicks go into San Antonio and win game 7 on the road and hoist the trophy, and all of the New York basketball fans come out, and we'll see what happens to NYC if that happens, man. I mean, the city might burn down. That'll be crazy. I can't imagine what the city of New York will be like if the Knicks were to win the finals. So, but that's what I think's happening. I really think they're going to do it. I really think it's just their year. I think everything is worked out perfectly for them, and I think they're going to do it. I think their chemistry and they're just clicking too well right now. And also, for the sake of the league, we kind of need the Knicks to win this one so that because the Spurs are going to win the next 5, like I said. So it's a better storyline if Wemby loses this one and comes back next year to win. So that's what I always like, those sports stories where you kind of, that's the motivation you need to win next year. So I think that would be a really cool sports story if that's what happens, because I just, it's hard to dislike this Knicks core. I don't see how you could not like any of these Knicks players. They're just a group of super likable guys, and they were doing this in college too. So it's been a fun story, been fun to watch, and I think they're going to keep it going against San Antonio. Like I said, Knicks in 7. That's all I got for you guys today. Enjoy the NBA Finals. I think that's all I got for this week. I'm gonna kick back and enjoy the series now and watch. And I will be back next week. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe to The Point After with Mitch Kaiser. And have a great rest of your Tuesday. Enjoy game 1 tomorrow night.